about great gifting ideas for Father's Day. To help us do that, we invited not just one, not two, but three brands and their brand ambassadors to really tell us about six releases that would be perfect gifts as you're planning for your Father's Day. And starting us off is Karl Lipscomb from Woodford Reserve, giving us an introduction to two great releases, actually two of my favorites. So, Karl, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, Lee.
So, Karl, tell us a little bit about Woodford Reserve, and I've already started pouring. I'm really excited to jump into these two releases, but tell us about Woodford and why it's perfect for Father's Day.
All right. Well, first of all, since it is Father's Day, we have to start off with a dad joke.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Where does the sheep get its haircut?
Where?
At the barber shop.
Oh, God. That's a good one.
Put it on the board. Yes, there it is.
All right, that's a great way to start.
Oh, yeah. Man, my son loves that one.
It can only go up from here.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, but I found it very funny. Anyways, so my name's Karl Lipscomb. I am the Southeast Brand Ambassador for Woodford Reserve. And today, with this Reserve Bar Live, what we're going to do is kind of take you through the 5 sources of flavor. We're going to taste each expression. I can go over how it would be great in a cocktail, along with some food pairings as well, with both of these expressions to have at home.
Awesome.
So there's 5 sources of flavor. We have water, we have our grains, we have fermentation, distillation, and maturation, right? So with our water supply, we have limestone, natural limestone in our water, which serves as a filter. We actually share a property line with American Pharoah, where you have thoroughbred horses maturing side by side with our whiskey, and the reason why they're there is because of our water supply.
Wow.
And with that limestone, it's going to remove a lot of the impurities that you don't want in your whiskey, right? But it's also going to add rich nutrients like calcium and potassium, which is great for our whiskey, great for flavor, and also great for the horse's bones and growth, right? Next, we have our grains. So we work with University of Kentucky in the agriculture department to grow some of our corn. Also, we locally source our rye, and along with our malted barley is also locally sourced from Montana and also Pennsylvania. Third, we have fermentation. So we grow our own yeast. Why that's important is because the yeast that we grow allows us to ferment twice as long than your typical bourbons, right? So we ferment about 5 to 7 days, which really allows those subtle fruity notes become a little bit more bold, a little bit more present than you would have in a typical bourbon that only ferments for about 3 days.
Well, and that's actually a perfect time to pause you and jump into our first bottle here. So the Woodford Reserve Bourbon. Tell us about like those notes that you were just mentioning. Like, how does this lead to just this incredible nose and kind of front palate when you're tasting this bourbon?
All right. So first, before we jump into it, let's go ahead and smell it. Hold that glass up, Lee. There you go. Go ahead and smell it, right? And so when you're smelling it, yeah, the bottle too. Perfect.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for you.
So when you smell it, what you're doing is you taste through your nose, right? So you're just getting everything prepared. So go ahead and take a little sip. Right, that's going to coat your palate. And then let's take another sip. Just a little one. That second sip is going to allow you to describe what it is that's in this juice, right?
Yeah.
So the bourbon is a perfectly balanced bourbon, and that's done with intent, right? So when we created this whiskey, we basically wanted to create something that was palatable for everyone, right? Because back then, everyone would kind of basically get whatever was closest to them, right? So if you were in France, you know, it would be, you know, champagne, or it'd be cognac, or if you're in the Caribbean, you're getting rum, you know, things like that. So what we sought out to do was basically try to create something that was palatable for everyone, right? So you're going to have those rum and cognac notes, you're going to have those Scotch notes from the barrel, and then you're also going to have those sweeter notes too that we're definitely going to tie in from the double oak.
Absolutely.
After the fermentation process, since we do go twice as long, just kind of get back into that. We do have a very thick cereal, right? Thick mash, just kind of bring it down. And what happens is that from there, it's going to go over to distillation. So we have pot stills, right? And since our mash is thick and we're using pot stills, they don't have to travel as far. So we're able to retain a lot of flavor as opposed to something that would have to go through a column still, which is very tall, right? So if it was a column still, it'd have to get stripped and then eventually make its way up. But with the pot stills, they're, you know, short and fat. They're kind of shaped like myself, if you will. And and they don't have far to go, right? And then from there, it's going to go into maturation, which is my favorite part. So it's going to go into the barrel at 110 proof, right? And what we do is we toast and char. So to kind of create an analogy for you, have you ever had a s'mores before, Lee?
Of course. Love them.
Okay, perfect. So the difference between toasting and charring is that you have the one guy who just shoves the marshmallow right in the pit, right? And it just gets black and crusty, and it's not cooked all the way through. So think about that as charring, right? Whereas toast is the person that's on the outside that's slowly roasting, you know, especially because it's Father's Day. There's that guy probably wearing New Balances and cargo shorts, right? He's just slowly, not you, Henry, not slowly roast until it gets golden brown, right? And then it's cooked all the way through. You squeeze it, it's mushy, it's delicious, right? And so that's the main difference between toasting and charring. And what happens is that once we grow our own wood, right? And we season it for about 9 to 12 months. And that's very important because wood is basically the majority of the flavor, right? And most all the color, right? But like 65 to 75% of the flavor is coming from that wood. And so we first toast, right? So we should have this scathing hot rod. And what happens is that the oak has a natural defense mechanism for whenever it senses heat, it releases sugar. So when it feels the heat from the toast, it starts to release those sugars. After that's done, we go in and char it quickly. And it's going to trap those sugars, right? And it's going to create like an alligator skin, more or less. But then when the juice goes in, it's going to start interacting with those sugars right away. And then we age for about 5 to 7 years. And then from there, we batch and then we bottle, right? And it comes in at 90.4 proof.
And then how do we kick that up a notch with double oak?
So double oak was basically, it's the same exact juice as the bourbon. Sorry, excuse me. Same exact juice as the bourbon. After that, after the bourbon's being done aging, it goes into a brand new barrel, right, of its own. There it is. Put it up. Brand new barrel of its own for another 6 to 12 months. And it's heavily toasted, lightly charred. It has its own barrel. We call it Kentucky Couture, right? And this, if you have a little bit left, I'm not sure, but if you want to hold it side by side, you can literally see the color difference, right, from the bourbon and the double oak.
Let's see if I can get that in.
And you can really see basically where it started and where it finished. And the thing is with the bourbon, it's extremely versatile. So it's like at home, you know, you can make classic cocktails. You can make the Spire, which is cranberry and lemonade, with the Woodford bourbon that we had, you know, during the Derby. And the double oak is great. You good? It's great. We can see your face, Lee. We can see your face.
I'm dying over here, guys. I'm dying over here.
Lee. He's like, cut. No. So the double oak is great for after dinner. After dinner, it's amazing with like cheesecake, flan. Think dark chocolate, salted dark chocolate, cigars. It's perfect with as well. You know what I mean? Or my favorite, you know, is tiramisu. It goes very well with tiramisu as well.
Yeah, and also what I love actually about this pairing too, and actually each of the other two pairs as well. Like, this is a great gift set. Like, if you're looking for a cool tasting experience to do with your dad, this is a great way to be able to say, hey, this is the core bourbon in both of these bottles, but this gets like an extra amount of aging within a new barrel, and you really get that ability to, you know, kind of do that. I love this one because of X, Y, and Z. I love this one because of ABC, and really have that conversation. So I'm really glad y'all picked these two, because I think for me this is a great way to be able to be like, this is how it starts, this is where it goes, and be able to say, hey, this is why I love this one, this is why I love this one.
Yeah, and the Double Oak was rated world's most premium bourbon, best premium bourbon as well through the International Bartenders Association. So it's a great gift for Dad.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Karl, thanks for walking us through these two Woodford expressions. I think we're going to head off to Henry to introduce us to two Herradura releases.
I got another dad joke, though.
Oh, okay. A dad joke on the exit. Got it.
Let's do it. What did the painter do when he was cold?
Oh, geez.
He put on another coat, Lee. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
Cheers.
Cheers. And don't worry, Karl will still be with us. As you can see, all of our wonderful ambassadors are actually in the same room, which is the first for me. So if we have any questions come up, please feel free to ask them in the comments, and we'll take the time to answer them. We want to make sure that we answer all your questions, and I think it's so fun that they get to kind of be there together and have an audience together. It's just fun bouncing stuff off of each other. So I will also switch over here.
Make sure I got the right bottles. Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure? Woo.
Just I'm talking about tequila. Okay.
So Henry, just to remind you, you are talking about tequila.
Hey Lee, you're slurring. You're slurring a little bit. Did that bourbon get to you?
It did. It did.
He's still coughing.
I'm still coughing. Here, let's get a sip of water. So Henry, thanks for joining us to talk about these two Herradura releases. I have been so excited to. I've actually already had this one before. I was so excited to receive this in the mail. I mean, talk about a gift that, like, when you open this thing up, just the presentation and the experience. This was one where when I received it, because I forgot that I was getting it, it was just an awesome surprise. So as we talk about gifts for Father's Day, I mean, what an incredible one. Tell us a little bit about Herradura and why this would be a great tasting experience for Father's Day.
Well, first, thank you for having all of us on here. This is fun. We've been joking around a lot before we started, and we're actually joking behind the scenes as well. We're insulting each other from a distance, but it's
perfect.
So I guess I mean, I don't have much of a joke. Like Karl he crushed it with those two dad jokes. Like, I mean, yeah, that was like, especially the New Balance with the cargo pants. That was interesting. But the only thing I gotta say is a horse walks into a bar. Bartender says, "Hey, why the long face?"
Dang.
See that?
Yeah,
see that? Karl told me that. So
let's move on quick.
So let's talk about tequila. One of the things I want to touch on too, and I know my coworkers here would agree, is whether it's the bourbon, whether it's tequila or rum after this, please make sure you drink responsibly, folks. That's very important to us. We care about you. We want to make sure you're safe and healthy in the way you're doing things, okay? So tequila. We're going to talk about Herradura tequila. Herradura, some people call it Herradura. The word translates to horseshoe. Lee, you're one of those, huh?
Yeah, sorry.
In South Florida, it's depending on where you are, it's Herradura or so it just depends on where you are. We're going to talk about two expressions, which actually are two of my favorite expressions within the brand as well, just because they're unique. I always look for something different. I always want something that it's not the most common, something that when I taste them, I'll be like, wow, this is interesting. That's what I look for in tequila. So to start off, everything came from our original silver bottle. So everything we're tasting, everything that's here, started with this juice right here. So our silver bottle. By the way, what makes our tequila different from a lot of the other ones is we go above industry standards when it comes down to aging. Like for the silver I just showed you, it's anywhere from 0 to like 60 days. Most people do like 0 days straight to the bottle. We actually age ours, and I'll let you know. I'm going to show you a little secret. It's actually on the bottle, aged 45 days. It says it right on the bottle. Okay? So if you ever don't know, look at the bottle. You can learn a lot by looking at that bottle. Just throwing it out there. Not the empty ones either. I'm telling you, look at them when you got them. And then as we move up the ladder, the aging process extends more and more. And like Karl mentioned before, barrels give a lot of color. Barrels is where we get the color for our tequila. We're going to talk about two specific ones, Herradura Ultra and the Legend. I'm going to start off by talking about the Ultra first.
All right.
Just because I think the process with Ultra is so cool. It's so different. That's the one right there. Yep. It's just so cool. And by the way, do you know why the horseshoe is upside down? Because it's supposedly bad luck when the horseshoe is upside down. Okay.
Really?
The reason is so we can able to pour you some luck.
I love it.
That's the reason. Did I do it right? No.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. Pour you some luck. See, I just gave you back. There you go. You're a lucky guy. Okay, so there we go. And for you Indianapolis Colts fans, we don't care. So, okay. So moving on. So we're going to talk about the Ultra. It's this one right here. What's cool is if you notice the Ultra is an aged tequila.
Yes.
Okay? This is aged, even though it's crystal clear. So you're like, hey, what happened to the color? First of all, let me tell you what liquid we put in here. We take our añejo tequila, which is aged 15 months, and it says it right on the side. Okay, 25 months. Excuse me, 25 months. Look at the color of that aged tequila. Nice bronze color to it, right? We also take another tequila we have, which is called our Herradura Suprema. Suprema is pretty much our top of the line when it comes down to our quality bottles, and we add some of that juice in there. This has been aged 49 months.
Wow.
This is 49 months. The añejo is 25. We put them together, so now you have this dark tequila, right? Then what we do is we run it through this charcoal filtering. If you ever heard the term cristalino in the tequila world, it's kind of what we're doing. We're doing a cristalino. Charcoal filtering, what it does is it removes the color, okay? And it also removes certain flavors we don't want. We also add a little bit of agave nectar to it, so it adds a little sweetness to it. So we have this 25-month-old tequila, 49-month-old tequila, a little bit of agave, filtered through this charcoal, and then we get this crystal clear cristalino. Crystal clear cristalino. See where we get the wording from? And if you pick up, did you pour some in the glass already?
I did.
Okay, it doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't surprise me.
I'm ready for you. Yeah.
I mean, hey, is that a violin behind you or a guitar? I can't tell. Okay, either way, it doesn't matter. All right, so now we have our cristalino. What I want you to do, always smell first. Always smell. Okay? Take a nice smell. What you're probably smelling, it's a little sweet to it. Not your typical tequila smell that you're already like, oh, I need the lime and the salt, So this is 100% agave. What does that mean? It means you don't need lime and salt. Okay? This is a sipping tequila, right? Lime and salt is for the tequilas that you need to kill that flavor of it because it's kind of a little harsh. I'm not going to say any brands or competitors or anything like that because everybody's got their way of drinking it. But for those of you who are above the age of 21, okay, we're going to sip our tequila. All right? Right, Karl?
Yes.
Good job.
Yes.
Karl's he's the straight man of the group. He's always throwing out the one-liners like that.
Yeah.
So our first sip, like Karl mentioned before, is the most important. This is the one that sets the palate, sets the tone for the evening. Something I want everybody to do when you take that first sip, hold it in your mouth for 3 seconds, move it around. Okay. After you move it around, when you swallow it, exhale. Why are we exhaling? How does a dragon get rid of the fire? It breathes it out. That's what we're doing. We're breathing out to get rid of some of that burn that people talk about. Okay. So let's do the first one really quick. Okay. Make sure, and that it's not like a quick. It's a Okay. Now you should feel a little tingling in your tongue, a little tingling in your gums. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Okay. Now I want you to breathe. Breathing is very important. If you don't believe me, look it up on YouTube. It's really important. Okay. Make sure you breathe. And now what I want you to do is I want you to take a second sip. And when you take your second sip, you don't have to do the 3-second thing now. Just do your second sip, swallow it, slight exhale. I promise you, it should be a different flavor from the first. Okay. If you're not tasting anything at all right now, you need to get yourself COVID checked. I'm going to throw it out there right now. You need to get yourself COVID checked. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and take a second sip. See, now I'm starting to get a little bit more flavor on this, a little bit more notes. Okay. Different from the first time around. What could change the flavor? What I'm eating. If I had chewing gum in my mouth before, that's going to probably throw everything off whack.
Everything.
And if I was to pair this with something, I'm telling you, this would, with a ceviche, would be off the chain.
Wow.
This would be really good with a nice ceviche. For you cigar smokers out there, remember, this is an aged tequila. Okay. So if you want to tell dad, hey, here's a tequila you can have with cigar, this will go for a nice mild to medium cigar all day. Okay. I hope everybody likes the Ultra so far, because I think it's just really one of the best things we came out with, 100%. I remember when we came out with this, it was ridiculous. Like everybody was tasting it, it was going off the charts. Now we're going to move over to Herradura, named after me, Legend. Okay, and the Legend, there it is. I think it's such a cool bottle. It's such a cool, and what's cool about it, okay, I'm gonna hey, this is a secret I'm gonna share with everybody. Okay, very important. You can't really tell how much liquid there is in there because it's kind of dark. This is good when your friends come over. You can tell them, I only have a little bit. I can't share a lot. Okay, this is good. So take advantage of that. Make sure you tell your dads, because everybody knows dads are cheap. I have an 11-year-old kid who turns 11 tomorrow, actually. Okay, and I always tell him, hey, I just don't have any money. And of course, I don't let him look at my bank account. It's a different story. Okay, so we're gonna go with the Herradura Legend. What makes this different from the rest? This is aged in a different barrel from all the other ones. What we do is we've taken a barrel, this one right here. This is a stave, a barrel stave. And it's actually this one here. And what we did is we cut grooves into it so it looks like this. Okay. And having these different grooves, now you're getting two different types of flavor and color. You're getting the charred flavor, and then you're getting from the virgin barrel itself. So you're getting two different types of wood producing taste, producing flavor. Hey, Billy, I could see your message. You're not a legend. I just want to throw it out there. There's only one of us, buddy. Okay, so that's not, don't go taking my thunder, bud. All right, just throwing it out there. Okay. So we did that, and what we produced a beautiful color. Look at that on the tequila. It's a, when I blind taste people on this, a lot of them don't think it's a tequila. They actually think it's a rum or a whiskey or something else, and they're asking, what is it? What is it? Because the flavor from the barrel produces such heavy notes, such heavy oak notes. Again, like before, we want to smell first. Oh, this one, it's already smelled. You can almost smell the barrel right off the top.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right off the top there, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you feel like a woodchuck, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so smell right off the top. Now we're going to do like before. We're going to take a small sip first, set the tone. Okay, wow, that's smooth. That's really smooth. Okay, and now when you take your second sip, remember to breathe in between. When you take your second sip, it should taste slightly different. Again, what you pair this with makes a big deal. This with steak is phenomenal.
Can only imagine, yeah.
Or even with a salmon, it goes better with salmon than with trout. You can even pair this with spaghetti. And I know somebody who did it with waffles and chicken, like that Southern style dish, and they enjoyed the heck out of it. So whether you're sipping the Ultra, whether you're sipping the Legend, it's to enjoy. It's not to shoot it down. When you shoot something down, you don't enjoy it. All you're doing is just getting one taste. Here, I'm teaching how to taste different things. If you've ever seen how a sommelier, when they're doing a tasting, they'll be like, oh, I smell the garden hose when I was a 5-year-old boy in New Jersey growing up. Or, oh yes, I smell hope. Okay, we're not doing that. Okay, we're smelling and tasting what we want. There's no such thing as a wrong answer. If you smell something, that's what you're smelling. If you're tasting something, that's what you're tasting. There is no wrong answer, which is why the three of us, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, you're going to get notes of cherry. You're going to get notes of this. No, you tell me what you're getting. That's how it works. Really quick ideas for cocktails. The Ultra, with a Paloma. If you're not familiar with the Paloma is, it's the official cocktail of Mexico. It's not a margarita. Okay, grapefruit, club soda, a little bit of lime, ultra. Very good. You don't need to shake it up. Just put it together in a cup. Always put the liquor first, the juices last. It will mix by itself. The Legend is an old-fashioned, is really good. So however you make your old-fashions, do it with this. Maybe even some chocolate bitters added to it. We'll bring out some notes. I recently did a pairing where we had barbecue spare ribs, Indian IPA beer, and we also had a Maduro cigar. So I paired it all, and I added this to the mix, and it was really good blends. Couple quick things that I've learned from tequila. Two things happen automatically. Number one, it will make you a better dancer. It definitely will make you a better dancer, even if there's no music. You'll be like, okay. That's that. By the way, I do my own choreography. In case anybody wants to class.
Tell. No, I can tell.
And well, you're looking all crazy. And number two, I've learned is the more of this you drink, the better looking I become. So if I start becoming good looking, need to slow down a little bit, drink a little bit more water, need to relax a little bit. Hey, Miranda, we don't need the pictures of the little emojis of you dancing. We're not doing that here. Okay, this isn't about you. Okay, this isn't about you. Okay, Miranda's always trying to take the show. You notice that?
Yeah.
Don't pull me into it.
So Lee, that's what I got for tequila. So
you're starting to transform right before my eyes. So we better move on to the next one.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, brother.
Yeah, thank you. This is awesome. All right. Well, last but not least, we're going to be joined by Anthony talking about Diplomatico. We have two great pours from Diplomatico. So we have gone from bourbon into tequila. We're finishing with rum. I mean, we are giving you all of the options for Father's Day. I need to switch my bottles as well.
How's it going, Lee?
All right. There we go. So
let me get my station set up.
Thanks for flying in for this, first of all.
Jet set it all the way from Dallas, Texas to Miami. And in about an hour and a half, I'll be heading out to South Carolina.
The one time I'm not in Dallas, you end up in Dallas. Perfect. Perfect.
What's your thoughts on Dallas? You like it?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Henry says not the Cowboys.
Yeah. I don't disagree there. All right. So, Anthony, tell us about Diplomatico and these two releases for Father's Day.
So we're going to talk about a little bit about Diplomatico rum and these two amazing expressions. We have the Mantuano and we have the Reserva Exclusiva. My Spanish is not getting, is not the crispest and clearest. But, Diplomatico's story starts back in the 1950s, 1956 to be exact. And for me, it's the purest expression of a Spanish-style rum. The distillery is located right in the heart or the feet of the Andes Mountains. Amazing climate that really which transcends into the ultra aging of the brand. For any of your whiskey lovers out there or tequila lovers, when we age our spirits, it gives the color and a lot of the characteristics of the flavor profiles of those spirits. 1 year aging in Venezuela equals 3 years in Kentucky. Wow. That's due to the only two seasons. You have a summer and you have a rainy season. And during the days, it's 96 degrees, and at night it goes down to 70s. So those barrels are just opening in and out, breathing, and really taking on those oak characteristics.
That's fascinating. Yeah, and you can really, the color on both of these is just incredible.
100%. You want to get into these expressions?
Let's jump in. And I'm just going to tell you, I was pouring while you were talking, and just the nose, like how they both opened up immediately was great.
Yeah, they have beautiful aromas on both. We're going to start with the Mantuano.
All right.
My colleagues, Henry and Karl, already gave you guys 101 on tastings. Most of their knowledge was correct, but I'll add a few things. I just like to say one thing. You want to be detective when you're tasting any sort of spirit, whether it's wine, tequila, whiskey, or rum. And first thing you like to do is, get a clean glass. And you want to put that spirit up in the air and take a look at it. That's just getting a nice visualization. Number one, making sure there's no flies in there, nothing bad, right? And then we're looking at the color. The color really designates, how long the product's been aged for. We're going to start with the Mantuano. So Carl's got it. And this is up to an 8-year expression.
Wow.
The cool thing about Diplomatico and what their master blenders do is everything is blended. So we have 3 styles of distillation and then 3 different casks that they're aged in. Okay, so it's an 8-year raw rum. It is going to be a barbette column still. So a column still is a long continuous still. You get those light, fruity, sharp flavors. Okay, and that's going to be 20%. And then you're going to have batch kettle. No one in those comments probably knows what a batch kettle still is, because I didn't even know until I started learning about Diplomatico. It was gifted us by the Canadian Embassy back in the 50s. And basically what it is, if anyone knows about distillation, it's a combination of a column still and a pot still. So you get those semi-rich flavors in between a column and a pot. And then you have 40%, or 60% is going to be your pot still. Pot still give those bigger, richer flavors.
Absolutely.
And then after you distill that 3 times, guess what you're going to do? Now you're going to age them. So we age them 3 different ways. We age them in ex-bourbon casks. So you get those nice, rich oak flavors. You get a little bit of that residual whiskey flavor. You're going to age them in ex-single malt casks, single malt scotch. And then you're going to age them again for about 2 years in new white American oak barrels.
Oh,
so you got a lot of things going on.
No charring for the white?
No charring for the... No, it's charred. But new, not used.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Henry just asked if those the new American oaks were charred.
Yeah.
Obviously, Henry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we take a look at this, look at the color. We're going to get our nose going in there, right? Keep your mouth open, like Carl said. Get those olfactory senses going, making sure we're not smelling anything bad. We're getting all good floral, aromatic, a little bit of orange tone, stone fruit. Really delicious. And go for that sip. Lee, I want to know what you're tasting.
I don't care what Henry says. I taste hope.
I taste hope too. This rum as well is a really good transition for that whiskey lover as well. The whiskey really comes through because when we taste the next variant, the Reserva, that's 80% pot still. So when you're getting a little bit more of the column and the batch kettle, a little bit of those whiskey flavors come through in that transition sense. So any of you dads out there that are whiskey fanatics, whiskey aficionados, go for the Mantuano.
I mean, on the finish, I definitely get that oak. I'm in the front and on the nose, like that maple syrup. Some of those like bourbon notes you were talking about, those whiskey notes, and then that like stone fruit, dark fruit. Almost
stone fruit's a given for anything, even in the bourbon world, it's stone fruit. That's your peaches, your apricots, all those lovely things. I do like to add as well, you're gonna get a lot of spice on this, right? We're not talking about black pepper. We're talking about kitchen spice, right? A little bit of cardamom. You're getting anise. You're getting a little nutmeg that kind of creeps through in the back end. It's well balanced. This works perfectly with cocktails on the lighter side. Moscow Mule is a really nice, easy go-to that kind of coincides with all kind of spirits. So a little bit of high-end or proper ginger beer in there. A little splash of lime. Nice.
Oh, wow.
Hearty pour of Mantuano, and Papa's got a brand new bag and a brand new style of Moscow Mules.
Yeah, I mean, this is such an easy sipper too. I mean, this could both of these really, but can be dessert by themselves, right? Just enjoy it, as you're finishing a meal, and this is perfect.
100%. I mean, I come from the ideology that spirits are meant to be played with, especially rum. Rum's a fun, fruitful, brilliant category of spirits. So whether you're drinking on its own, neat, or on the rocks, or you're going full force that tiki, these expressions are really fun to work with. And then next, we're going to go with the OG, the Reserva Exclusiva. This is kind of one of our core brands. This got launched back in 2003. This is our bread and butter. This is our honey. This is our big dog. A little heavier flavor profile than the Mantuano, just because of the distillation process and the aging. So the Mantuano is an 8-year, up to an 8-year. What do you think this is, Lee?
Well,
anybody in the comments?
I'm going to go 10.
Miranda says my Thai specs. I don't give out my specs.
There goes Miranda again. She just doesn't stop.
So this is up to 12-year.
Wow.
Okay.
12, dang.
Okay. Yeah, it's a 12-year. So obviously, like in any spirits, longer the age, more of the color.
Absolutely.
Which is crazy because we talked about, when we talk about aging in the Amazon or in Venezuela, right? 1 year equals 3 years, right? So after 12 years, you lose up to 60% of that barrel.
Wow.
So those barrels are breathing in and out, breathing in, evaporating. The
And
angel
just
share.
look at that color, man.
Yeah, so definitely dark, more caramel looking. You know, definitely even glance this glass around a little bit. You look at those residual oils coming down, all those fat deposits. It's sticking to that glass. That's why I know that's a really healthy pot still rum, just sticking to the side. So this is 80% pot still. That's going to be the backbone of this rum, okay? Bigger, heavier, fattier notes, dark caramel, dark citrus. You still have your stone fruit in there. And then we're going to get 10% of the batch kettle. Gives you a little of that semi-complex flavor. And then 10% of those low wines from that barbette column still. So just a little lighter, sharpier. But this is, you know, almost more like an English style rum here. You know, we are Spanish style. But English style is more primarily pot still. But we're mixing up a little bit. This is my favorite, cocktail focused. You know, if you're not doing a neater on the rocks, just like everyone else, makes a killer old fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers. Get a little nip in there. Beautiful dark amber. You know, a little bit of orange, honeycomb. Obviously, the molasses comes through.
Gosh.
How great is this?
Yeah, that molasses comes through, and that is, man, that is just decadent.
It comes through, but it's not overly sweet. I think a lot of people have, you know, as the home user is getting more educated, the bar industry is getting more educated. You know, rums aren't sweet. You know, they're not going to be categorically sweet when it's made properly, especially with this triple distillation process from 3 different stills, 3 different barrels. It's super complex, but it does finish off slightly dry.
Yeah. Wow.
I love it. It's one of my favorite rums out there.
So I actually have not made a rum old fashioned yet.
Stop it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you can use the same kind of specs as a classic old fashioned. You can get a little funky and switch out like the simple syrup with either honey or demerara sugar, generally darker spirits with molasses kind of undertones. We want to maybe do a little demerara syrup. It has a little bit more, you know, molasses-like characteristics.
Yeah.
And then obviously with all these lovely orange notes, we want to accentuate those. Crack an orange peel, zest it on top. Keep it simple.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll definitely be trying that. Well, maybe with.
I think I'm gonna miss my flight and just hang out here and drink Diplomatico with the boys.
We have a little bit more time. I mean, you guys are all hanging out, so.
You guys want to get in here real quick? Talk about it or no?
Talk about you?
Yeah, obviously. You know, let's be up a little bit. We can keep this an open forum, right? We got 3 experts right here. These guys, even Karl, we know everything about alcohol.
Even Karl.
So I must say, this Diplomatico with Coca-Cola and 2 dashes of Angostura bitters with a lime slice, delicious. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about like high-end spirits, we want to showcase these spirits for all these home bartenders. It's like you don't have to overcomplicate anything. You don't have to add a lot of ingredients. Let the spirits showcase, and you get the best out of it.
It's very mixology friendly, and I can just say, even for the home bartender, it doesn't take years of working behind the bar to figure out anything you can do with a dark spirit, whether it's a whiskey or a dark tequila. You can do with this rum. It all works the same way.
And if you go to your local watering hole and they don't have any of these amazing products, all you got to do is ask, and they'll bring them in.
Or don't go back.
Or don't go back. Yeah, boycott.
Or don't go back. All right, so Anthony, Steve heard fat deposits, and he wanted to know, what do you mean?
Oh, so oil, fat follows oil. So we're talking about gin, we're talking about rum, we're talking about whiskey. I'm from the ideology and the background, especially with Brown-Forman. The higher the alcohol, the more oils, the more fat, the more flavor comes out of there. Think about oil and fat like legs. You know, you're talking about wine that kind of follows alcohol content. You know, majority of table wines around like 12 to 15% ABV, but those longer legs, you can probably tell it's a little higher in alcohol. You know, Diplomatico, for these 2 expressions, we're running around 80 proof. But they got some really nice legs in there. Coats the mouth, sticks to the, you know, the sides of your mouth. Great spirit.
Hey Lee, yeah. I'd like to, you know, I'm a sommelier, and I'd like to share with everybody the easiest way to taste something if you're amongst a group of experts and professionals, to make yourself sound like a professional, even if you don't know what you're tasting or smelling. So I'm gonna show you how to do this, and it's okay to take notes. Take out your crayons, take notes. It's gonna work. You'll see. So the first thing you want to do is smell it. When you smell it, always look away. Smell and be like,
always look away.
Always look away, like you're thinking about something. Like,
yeah, okay.
Like, and then I do that face like, let me try again. Take another smell.
Revisit, right?
Wow, revisit. Look at that. Wine terms.
Yeah.
Okay, so take another smell, and then you got to do the head shake like you know what it means.
Mm.
And then this, you ready for this? This is the key word. You ready? It's complex.
Yeah.
It's complex.
It's definitely complex.
It's definitely complex. And if you really want to take it to the next level, this is like super advanced sound terms.
Whew, okay.
It's earthy. It's got a little earthy.
And my go-to is after I do all that amazing stuff, I go, what do you think?
Yeah.
And put you on the spot because obviously I know, but what do you think?
Yeah. And then just look at them like they're crazy.
Yeah. And then if they ask you, you have to go, hold on, I got a phone call. I got to take this real quick.
Yeah.
And then just run away.
It's a telemarketer. Give me a second.
That's awesome. I mean, that's perfect. I'm gonna try that next time I have an event at my house.
Billy, you're funny too.
All right. So joking aside, what drinks are y'all making for Father's Day?
So
what are you pouring? What are you making?
So I am actually going to be using the Legend, and I'm going to be doing a chocolate old fashioned.
Mm.
What is that?
Well, it's obviously vanilla flavored. No, it's chocolate. What I'm doing is I'm actually infusing the Herradura Legend. I mentioned this to you guys when we were in Orlando. I'm actually infusing Herradura Legend with Cocoa Puffs.
Wow. What?
Yeah, the cereal. Yes. I'm going to infuse it overnight, filter it, and now I have an extremely incredible flavored aged tequila with a little chocolate back note. Well, actually, a lot of chocolate back note from the puffs.
Yeah.
And then I go ahead and add a little bit of Mexican chocolate bitters to it as well, and enjoy a nice cigar.
You just blew my mind.
Yeah. So I don't like cereal, but I respect his choice. I'm probably going to go with a Mantuano on the rocks and a little chase of ginger beer on the side.
No, that's
Yeah,
that's very cute.
Keep it classic.
That's nice.
I'm gonna have to try it with that ginger beer. Yeah. That's
Okay.
it.
I wonder what the grown-ups are doing.
At home with their kids.
How about you, Carl? What are you doing?
What's Carl having?
Get out of here. Watch out. So, I'm going to go ahead and make a classic Manhattan with the double oak. Goes down perfect after dinner. And have it with a nice little cigar, probably outside overlooking the water.
Wow, that's awesome.
First of all, Carl does not live lakeside like he appears to say.
After a rain,
Talking about talking about the beach.
No,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no problem. Well, gentlemen, you have shown us 6 incredible releases that you can get right now on Reserve Bar ahead of Father's Day. And I mean, just some great ways to just enjoy Father's Day with your family. I mean,
Lee, hold on. Lee, look at this transition, right? It's youth, getting a little older, and then Carl.
What? Age don't age, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
The whiskey took it off.
Well, if you
I got another joke. Can I tell you a joke?
One more. All right, I'm ready.
All right,
This
where
might be a
does the
party
horse where does the horse get its clothes at?
joke. Where?
Old Navy.
I think we're done. Lee.
Woo! On that note, we are going to finish this virtual tasting. Again, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to introduce us to these releases from Woodford, Herradura, and Diplomatico. If you want more information on any of these brands, you can visit their social media accounts. You can also find all of these releases on Reserve Bar right now ahead of Father's Day. We can mail them to your door, or in some locations, you can get them same day. So again, guys, thank you so much for the time. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in and following along as we walk through all of these releases.
Thank you.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Drink responsibly. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Drink responsibly.